Friends, today's NRI Summer program from Los Angeles brought to you commercial free by listeners like you. Your generous donations make possible for us to stay commercial free, and today's show is pre-recorded. If you have a question for the guest, please send an email to nrisummer@gmail.com. We will follow up with the guest and find the answer for you. Thank you for your support.
Welcome back to NRI Samai. This is Srihari, your host for today's show. Today we have with us Dr. Surendra Dara. He's Strawberry and Vegetable Crops Advisor and affiliated IPM advisor. IPM is Integrated Pest Management. He works closely with the farmers. He does research and works closely with the farmers to pass on the information to them on on farming basically. And today we will be talking about how in general how farming works in California, and if there is anything we can do in India, anything we can study and implement in India to make the situation better. Dr. Surendra Garu, welcome to NRI Samai.
Thank you very much, Andy. I appreciate having me on your show.
Thank you, sir. Before we jump into the details, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you come to US, and what is your area of expertise, or what exactly you're doing currently?
Yes, certainly. I did my bachelor's in agricultural science and master's in entomology in India. Then I came to the United States to do my PhD in entomology, but my PhD work was in insect pathology. It is a specialized area for research where we explore using different microbial pathogens of insects to control pests. After my PhD, I went to West Africa and worked there at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture on classical biological control of an important mite pest on cassava. And then after that, eventually my profession took me to different places, and now I ended up in California. My expertise in insect pathology and integrated pest management. And so I try to develop a balanced approach for managing pests to maintain sustainability. And, we both want an effective control, but at the same time we want to maintain the health of the environment and the human health also. So that is my focus of research.
Excellent. Not especially, at least I haven't heard of a lot of Indians coming on entomology to US. So could you tell a little bit more about, were your friends coming, or were your seniors coming, taking that path? How did you take this route?
That's an interesting question. When I came to the U.S., that was almost 23, 25 years ago, not many people from our university came to the U.S., so it was not very common, and the awareness in the agricultural science for people to go abroad and to pursue higher studies is also very limited. It is not to say that there weren't any, but it was very limited. So I was the first one among my classmates to come to the U.S. And how did it happen? I actually never wanted to leave India. So my goal was to do a PhD and then become a university professor. So I had a simple goal in my life, and I was one of the two toppers in our university during masters. And then when we applied for our PhD, there were only 2 seats, and neither one of us got the seat, and it was allocated to different people, and both the toppers did not get the admission for PhD in our university. Then instead of waiting for one more year, I thought I would apply and look for other opportunities, and it just happened that I got admitted to Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, which is called Virginia Tech. I got admitted there with a full scholarship. So I accepted the offer from my major advisor and joined the program there.
Okay, it's quite an interesting story, actually. Probably you haven't expected at that point that you will be in US for so long.
That's right. Actually, after my PhD, I left US because my goal was, like I was saying earlier, I just wanted to get my PhD and go back to India and teach at our university or some other university. So when I got this job in at IIT in West Africa, a lot of people asked, how come you left? A lot of people want to go to the US and they never want to leave. How come you left? I told them I went there to get my education. I got it, and now I'm on my way back to India. So after 3 years of working at IITA, I applied for a faculty position in India in our university in Andhra Pradesh at the time. But I that interview call letter got delayed in the mail. So I received it on the same day of my interview. So you understand the system there. Once you get the opportunity, there is no negotiation. So I could not get it. And again, at the time, instead of waiting further for another opportunity, it happened that I had something else worked out in Canada. So I left. I had to leave India unwillingly the second time, and went to Canada. But America kept calling me back, and I ended up here.
Okay, excellent. So you are in California, I guess, for several years, and you are studying agriculture here. You said mainly pests and related things, but as we understand, California is number one in at least US, right, for agriculture, and in some of the products is probably number one in the world, like almonds and stuff like that. Is it just the weather, or is there anything else, for California to be in such a state for agriculture?
That's a very good question. One, I would say, whether the environment certainly plays a major role, because when we want to grow a crop, you have to have ideal weather, and that's one of the reasons, which allows people to grow different crops. But how does California become number one? I think that is not just because of the weather, but it is because of the researchers and the farmers and everybody involved in this process to do better, continuously improving the production practices and continuously improving the way we farm and control pests and diseases and improve the post-harvest conditions and shelf life and everything of the produce. So there is a lot of investment in research and extension, and that contributes a lot to the success story in California.
Excellent. And can you give a little more details about how it works, how the research is passed on to the farmers? Maybe you can give an example or two from university to farmers. I mean, I don't think this ever happens in India that we have seen. So it's a completely new concept, at least for me. So if you can give more details, that would be great.
Yeah, certainly. I wouldn't say this is not, this system is not present in India. In India too, we do have extension system where the goal is basically for the research information to be handed over to the farmers, the end users. But the channels are different in India and different parts of the world. And even in the U.S., in other states, we do not have the same kind of system that we have in California. I belong to University of California, which has 10 campuses, and I am affiliated to UC Davis, where we are headquartered. And UC has an entire division to look after this extension program. So our division is called Division of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and University of California Cooperative Extension System is a part of that. So we are about 250 or so scientists that are responsible for various crops and various commodities, and we are placed throughout the state. Some are placed at research stations, and some are placed at other facilities where there is no research. So, for example, in my case, my farmers' fields are my research plots. So, what we do is we are in continuous contact with the growers, and what we understand their needs. Sometimes we have to anticipate based on the current conditions and see what the priorities are and what kind of problems could be coming up. And sometimes we have to get the feedback from them. Okay, we are facing this particular issue with irrigation, or nutrition issue, or diseases, or pests, or weeds, and then we have to develop a research program based on that. So the goal is to provide science-based, practical solutions to the farmers that can be used right away. So we are different from on-campus faculty, in the sense on-campus faculty might be, in most cases, they're mainly involved in basic research, but we are involved in applied research that is truly applied and practical. So this is really a different system. In other places, maybe theoretically this is supposed to happen, but in California it does happen, because this is the only way university can provide service to farmers, by placing us in locations where real farming is happening, so that we understand them and we provide timely solutions.
Okay. And this communication, how does it happen? Are there any particular centers where the farmers and researchers go and meet? Is there a scheduled time, like every week or every month, or is it more ad hoc?
That is, again, a very good question. The communication previously used to happen in the sense, like, during the olden days, we used to just write, publish newsletters once in a while, and then organize field days and some extension meetings. But things are changing now. So if you take my situation as an example, I try to use every communication tool that is available. Whether it is social media, whether it is online electronic newsletters or publications or trade journals, magazines or scientific journals, or going to the fields and organizing field days or having extension meetings and workshops. So I try to use everything, and I organize, and so do my colleagues. We organize periodic extension meetings depending on our specialization and expertise. Sometimes we have field days, sometimes it is just indoor meetings. In my case, I organize both of them at different times of the year. And then I have 2 electronic newsletters, and then I also contribute articles to newsletters published by other people and the counties. So, and I also use Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube, everything. I'm using every channel to reach out to the farmers. And very recently, I had one iPhone app developed about strawberry pests and diseases. This is also, using modern technology to reach out to the farmers and pest control advisors and everybody involved in the industry.
Friends, NRI Samay is a non-profit independent alternate media from Los Angeles, USA, which brings positive stories from grassroots activists from all corners of India and across the world. NRI Summit does not rely on corporate funding and our shows are commercial free. We only rely on your donations. Corporate funded media is driven by the TRP rating and profits are blurring the distinction between news and entertainment. Why do our news channels talk so much about cricket, movies, accidents, popular figures' personal lives, babies of heroines, gossips, etc., while they should be covering the struggles of people, inequality in our society, rural issues, and border security issues? Why did our media raise some corruption crusaders to the sky on one day and shut them off completely when graft charges were raised on those corporate sponsors? Media relies so much on the corporate funding and government blessings that they cannot report independently. NRSMA is different. We don't accept funds from any corporations and hence our shows are commercial free. We completely rely on donations from you. Please consider donating to NRI Samay and please go to nrisamay.com and donate generously. This is the only way together that we can continue NRI Samay. All donations are kept transparent on nrisamay.com. And if you have any questions, please write to nrisamay@gmail.com.
I see. Excellent. California, driving around, maybe on the coastal side you see the black soil, but central valley side, as soon as you see, you don't feel like, it's the soil that you can grow so much. Especially if you compare with what we are used to in coastal Andhra side. So is there any methods that they follow to grow such a large produce in California, especially in central California areas?
That's a very good observation. Like you said, if you see the soil, it looks like nothing can grow there, but you see wonderful crop growing right next to that dirt area, right? So that is all because of our extensive irrigation system we have in California. You might already know that most of the rain is in the northern part in Sierra Nevada mountain area, and so rain and snow. But most of the agriculture is in the central and southern California where rainfall is less than in the northern part. That is all because of the irrigation system we have, and crops are grown wherever they can take this irrigation water. Like wherever there is water, basically, underground water or canal water, and that actually helps them to be able to grow crops. And again, using the modern technology, trying to maximize the potential of the resources that we have. That is why, although we are in historic drought for the past few years, we are still able to produce enough because of the irrigation system and the way growers use the knowledge to cope up with these kinds of challenges.
I see. Excellent. Based on your experience or what you have noticed, if somebody is planning to get into agriculture in India, especially in AP or Telangana areas, is there anything that you can recommend on what they should, what are the considerations, the main consideration? I know it's a very vast subject, but any tips or anything you can share based on what you have seen here versus in India?
Yeah, definitely. I think you are asking the question in terms of if someone wants to get an agricultural business, not like an acre or half an acre or 2 acres, right?
Exactly.
I suppose someone wants to do grow crops like a business. Well, I mean, the important thing is to know as much as possible about the crop needs. It is not just physiological needs of the crop, what kind of environment is required, and what kind of irrigation and nutrient requirements are there. We also need to look at how much it costs to produce the crop and what kind of marketing channels we have. it is just like a business plan. It is, you have heard about the term agribusiness. So it is a business. We need to look at how much do we have the resources, and do we have the technical knowledge to do this, and then can we market our produce, and all these things need to be looked at. And agriculture, it seems simple. I have money, let me grow some crop. That does not work out all the time. You need to have people who thoroughly understand the plants, and make changes as necessary according to the season and location and all the other biotic and abiotic factors that continuously influence crop production. So it's both a science and an art, and people with passion only can succeed. So to answer your question, if someone wants to get into agriculture to producing a certain crop in India, they need to gather as much information as possible, and acquire enough knowledge, or hire people who know how to grow these crops, and have a good system, and start from there.
Yeah, that's a good advice. And recently we have done shows with Ramanjanil Jivigaru. He's from Center for Sustainable Agriculture. He was giving some more tips, basically. And based on what you noticed, again, it's a very vast subject, but based on what you saw, can you tell like 2 or 3 main reasons why we have so many problems for farmers in India? There's no end to it, but at least whatever you saw, like if you say these 3 or 4 things are solved, most of like 80% of the issues can be addressed, something like that.
That's a very important question, and based on what I saw, I think in India farmers are not respected. That's what I see. That is a striking thing. They are the ones, whether in India or everywhere, farmers feed the world, so they need to be respected. And when you that's one of the things. And then even when they produce their crop and are able to harvest, we cannot control all the environmental calamities and rains and droughts. But when they have a good harvest, they should get a good price for their harvest, and that is not happening in India. The middlemen, I don't know the system thoroughly, so not everything I'm saying may not be correct according to what is happening there. But what I noticed is they have middlemen who actually make all the profits, and farmers are left with returns, and that's not a fair thing. And another thing is, I think they might need more assistance from universities and government in terms of what works best, and what we do here, basically extending the knowledge to them. So empowering them with a good technology and good resources, and work with them for the first few years, in the sense, if you are trying to change the system there, work closely with them, work with them, and help them grow better crops. And they're smart, very smart, and they're actually working very hard. And I think they should not be neglected, not just because of the industry itself. They're the people feeding the world and feeding our population there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they pretty much feed us, So, yeah. Let's see, in California, or actually in the entire U.S., there's a lot of support from the government, right? When we talk about crops like corn industry and maybe even dairy, do you think this overall, is it a sustainable model, agriculture model in U.S.?
You mean the support system the government provides to the farmers?
Yes.
Every system could be improved, and there might be some areas where it can be changed and improved. But it seems to be working steadily all right in terms of providing some incentives and providing support, and also providing insurance and things like that.
Yeah.
I think if it works in this system, it is a good thing to look at and see what parts of this system are adaptable or applicable in India. Because here it is more structured and organized. In India it is not the same, and you have a lot of small farmers, small-scale farming operations are there. So whatever applies here may not be applicable there. So we need to take the model here and see how we modify and apply to the situation in India.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. Maybe you can give a couple of tips on what maybe the industry or the government in India can look at US model and learn from it.
That is a tricky question because this model changes from crop to crop. So what a cotton farmer has is not the same with a strawberry farmer or a corn farmer. So I'm not quite sure what I can tell about that. But the basic thing is that providing information to the farmers and providing them with the required support, and then helping them maximize their returns by developing a system to avoid these middlemen, and also they should have the opportunity to store their produce if there is no market. That's another thing I noticed I did not get to mention earlier. There is no storage facility, good storage facility in India. So that's one more thing. And trying to mechanize farming operations. I think that is already happening because of a severe labor shortage in India. Whoever can change into mechanization, they're doing it. So not everything is exactly the same. When you have 20, 30 small farmers, not everybody can purchase a tractor or a equipment. So, they may have to form into cooperative farming and do things. And very recently I saw in one of the newspapers that with very, I forgot the location, I think it is in a hilly area. They went up to the hill and leveled the area and trying to grow some crops.
Yeah.
Those are the places where government should give some support and help them when they're already working hard towards those things. So basically it is the support system that needs to change in India, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we both met in NATS convention in Los Angeles, and I noticed that when you were presenting, after you presented about the agriculture in California, I noticed Parital Sunithagar, the minister in AP, she was talking with you. I thought maybe she took your number and there would be a follow-up. Is there any interest from the AP government to learn more from you?
No, both Parital Sunithagar and the Kodal Prasad talked to me after my talk, and they took my cards, and they said they will get back to me, but I haven't heard back from them yet. But it's the policymakers that need to have the interest in changing our system. So hope they use the resources that we have here or in any other country where agriculture is prospering, and they can adapt it to our Indian system there.
Yeah, excellent. Because I see a lot of, maybe not at the state level, but at least at the country level. For example, NASA and the ISRO, they exchange the scientists and they learn from each other. So I hope they do at the agriculture level also.
I hope so, yes.
And actually, important question I forgot to ask. In California, we are seeing the historic drought right now. Is that a major concern long term? I know we are expecting a wet winter this season, but long term, do you think that's going to play a major role in California?
Well, this is a historic drought, and it has been going on for quite some time. Except in 2011, since 2007, we have been receiving less than average rainfall.
Yeah.
The average is about 7 inches per year in California, and for the past 3-4 years, it is less than 45 inches. So that's a significant loss there in the rainfall. But so definitely some crops are affected. But on the other hand, I was recently looking at several news articles and crop reports that different counties produce. So despite this drought situation, some growers are still managing. And we have been regularly communicating with the growers, strawberry and vegetable growers in my area. And, I have been asking what is the situation, what is happening. So some growers are reducing their cropping, the area acreage, and others are managing with whatever water sources they have. It is the groundwater they pump and irrigate the crops with. So those resources are depleting, and if it continues, it is going to affect. But on the other hand, if you take Kern County, which is one of the major agricultural producers in California, there is a 12% increase in the crop value, entire crop value, in 2014 compared to the year before. If you look at raisins, they are projected to have 13% more production this year compared to last year. And if you look at the strawberry yield, so far it is slightly less than 2014, but it is much more than what we had in 2013. And, the list goes on like that. In Santa Barbara County, for fruits, vegetables, and nut crops and some nuts and some of the other ones, there is an increase in yield. And same thing in San Luis Obispo. Since 2009, the total value of the crops has been continuously increasing. So to say that, it does not mean that these places are not affected by drought, but they are adapting to the changing situation and using the resources to the best extent possible. But if it is going to continue further down the road, we will see some serious impacts. And the El Nino that we are expecting only has 50% chance. So, we really don't know. Like a few weeks ago, they said it is going to be the strongest in 50 years, so it is supposed to end the drought. But the very recent report says that there is only a 50% chance. So we don't know what is going to happen. But that's where, when you have everything working out well, we may not pay attention to some of the minor details, but during the situations like this is where we try to use our knowledge to improve the current situation or lessen the problem.
Yeah, that's a very good thought. So final question, if somebody here in US wants to go with you on a field, when you go into the field, just to learn more, if they're just enthusiastic, or if somebody actually in India, a farmer or somebody wants to come here and then see things around, are there any opportunities like that?
Yeah, definitely. If it is someone in the area I serve, they can always come and I can show them around. And if the people from other areas also want to come and see, when I go to see, depending on my schedule and time and what they want to see, I would be happy to accommodate. And regarding people from India, it's always good to communicate and have a formal arrangement. To some extent, it is quite possible if someone wants to come and see, but if it has to be done between the university and Indian our state governments there, that was formalizing is also possible. But if someone wants to come and see it informally, that's always that can always be accommodated.
Okay. With that, that's all I wanted to ask. But is there anything else you want to add before we end the conversation?
Nothing much, but I appreciate your interest in agriculture. It is an important sector, and I appreciate your efforts to educate your listeners with important topics and topics that matter to everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you, and I'm always there to help, whether that goes here or it goes in other places. So anybody needs help, they can contact me.
Okay, thank you, Surendra Garu. It's actually our pleasure, and personally, I learned quite a bit in this short interview. But if there is any opportunity in the future, we would like to definitely contact you and know more, learn more about what is happening around us. Thank you, sir.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Friends, if you liked today's show, please go to youtube.com/NRI Samay and click on the subscribe button. You will get notified every time we publish a new show. And you can also like us on our social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.